Hi, thanks for watching. Now, there are many different ways to generate new customer leads for your business, but what I want to show you in this video is how you can do it through your own website for free. Well, at whatever it costs to keep your website up. The reason for this way you are building your own brand and these leads are coming exclusively to you and in no other business, unlike a lot of third-party sites like Angie's and HomeAdvisor. Now, I'm also going to show you the amount of traffic and leads coming to the top competitors in your area so you can see how much you should be getting. So for comparison, what I've done is taken your website as well as the top competitors for when I search Boston tile contractor, and then I also did one for home remodeling in Boston. So I take these top websites as well as your own, and I put them into this tool that I use, and it shows me all the information that Google finds on your site that it uses to determine its position in search results, and then rates its strength and trust on a scale of 1 to 100. So if we just briefly look at some of the numbers, you can see why these websites are outranking yours and at the top of the list. But let me go through over briefly what some of these numbers mean, and then as we go through your site, you can see what changes need to be made and how they're going to affect its ranking. So when Google is determining how to rank a website in these search results, it uses two different factors. The first is what's called the authority or trust that it has in your site. Now, this is basically a popularity contest because this authority is gained when other domains or websites refer back to yours and then they create a link called a backlink. And then this acts as an endorsement that Google uses to build this trust because others are vouching for you. So for example, if say the local news station did an article on their website and it was the top 10 best home remodeling companies in the Boston area. And in that article, the reader could click on a link and it would bring them to your website. That's considered one backlink. Now you can get these types of links from a lot of different websites in the form of like blog posts, editorials, any kind of press releases. A really easy and strong one for you to get is what's called a citation. Now that's any time that your name, address, and phone number appear in an online business directory. Those include Yelp, Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau is a great one. These are usually all free. It just takes some time to find them, register your business, and then input the information exactly as it's shown in Google. So as we take a look at some of these competitors, we can see based on the number of links that they've built from other websites why Google is trusting their site more than yours. You can also see that home remodeling is a lot more competitive field, so there is a lot more link building and authority that's being built compared to tiling. Obviously, that varies depending on what industry. But just one thing to note here is it's not just a matter of the quantity of all these links. The quality has a lot to do with it as well. So we want to make sure that we're linking to websites that are relevant to your business. They're not spammy. They're definitely from the United States, things like that, because you can't transfer any of that trust if the website to begin with has no trust or it has no relevancy to your business. Now, the second factor for ranking your website is the content on your page. So as you can see here, Google isn't really picking up any keywords on your page. So let me just quickly, oh, that's too many to go through. Let's just look at one of the competitors so I can show you how this works. These are all the keywords and phrases that are being typed into Google search that Google is finding on this company's website. And it also shows the volume, the number of times per month they're being searched. So this is where some research into the market really pays off by making sure you have the highest volume keywords included on your site. So for instance, tile installation Boston, that's being searched 100 times a month. Now, according to Google, 10% of total search volume, when you're high up on the first page of Google search, 10% of search volume will become a lead to the business, meaning when people are searching these 100 or so people every month, they'll see your website. Roughly 10 of them are going to either give you a call or click on a form so they can email you through the website. So that's a potential of 10 new leads coming in every month. Obviously, the scope of the job and the profit margins vary from job to job, but you can see just the sheer volume of leads coming in can definitely add up to some revenue at the end of the month and at the end of the year. And that's just for one keyword phrase. So then we repeat that same process for all the highest volume keywords. So that way you're getting a percentage of all those coming in. And then you can see how it can really add up to some revenue for the business. Now, there is a formula that Google uses to find these keywords. So if we take a look at your site here, the layout is great. We've got the form right at the top, which is perfect. People can get right to it. We've got a button that it appears to be mobile optimized, which is very important because a majority of people are on their mobile device nowadays. So we want to have the one click to call button. The layout is great as far as it goes very smooth. Everybody can get the information. But the reason that there's a problem is there just really isn't enough content on the page, which is why you're not being picked up for any keywords. And the reason being is Google doesn't really care what the layout is. Being a computer, the first thing it's going to do is just come in and count all the words on the page. Now, generally, we say, as a rule of thumb, we want to have at least about anywhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 1,500 words on your homepage. The reason being is that the more information that's on the page, the more Google assumes that you're an expert in whatever field you're in, and then the more likely it is to recommend you. However, we also need to compare to your competitors. So if your competition has 1,000 words, we're going to want to put maybe 1,250 or 1,300 words on there. Same thing, if they've got almost 2,000 words, we're going to want to go to like maybe 2,500. We want to show Google that you have more information and you're more of an expert in your field. Now, while it's counting all the words, it's also searching for those keywords. So any of the services that you're going to offer and potentially any locations or areas you want to offer them in. However, this is where the number of words on the page really comes into play because you're only allowed to have one of those keywords for about every 125 to 150 words of content. So the more keywords that you want to be found for means the more content that you have to add to the page. And then furthermore, Google really wants to make sure that the content that you're adding is relative. So if you're trying to talk about, say, kitchen remodeling, you're going to want to have those 150 words directly describing that keyword in order to qualify it. That's what the latest update is really trying to push. They're actually reading your content to make sure that it's relative to whatever keyword that you're actually trying to rank for. Same thing with location. If you're trying to have a location keyword, say like Boston tiling, then you need to actually talk about tiling and Boston in the content of that, the body of the content to be able to get this keyword to pick up by Google. Now, how this works in the search results is when we pull up any kind of search, the first thing that's going to come up is what we call the map pack. This is actually a pretty important area to get into because a lot of traffic can come to these top sites since they do appear at the top of the page. This, however, is your Google business profile. It's separate from your website. Now, these profiles are free if you don't have one. There are ways to optimize it so you can get higher up in this list. I see here that you are on the very bottom of the list, which is great. If you wanted to try to get a little higher, you can add a little bit more information in here. Inside your business description, you can add some keywords. You're allowed 750 characters. A really big thing is adding photos to your Google business profile. Those we usually recommend geotagging, meaning you're putting a location in the photo itself, so that way Google can understand your service area. And then you want to post to your profile on a regular basis. Google really rewards activity. So the more activity you have on here between you posting and reviews coming in, the more likely it is to recommend you higher and higher. And then also you want to get listed in as many of those directories as possible. You want to get more citations, so you want to be in more directories than anybody else on the list. Now underneath that, this is what we call the organic search results. This is where the more authority or trust that Google has in your site, the higher up in the list you're going to rank. Now, this is where getting more of those links or referrals from other websites helps you climb the competition and make sure that you're getting all those clicks and all those calls for the traffic and all the volume on those keywords that I showed earlier. Now, I hope this information was helpful and it just shows you how you can scale some of your online presence to use your website to generate a lot of traffic and get some more, customers coming into the business. But please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you want me to go into any further detail. We can talk about some of the goals for the business. I could do some research on my end to find, what it would take for you to reach those. But I always appreciate some feedback too on what you thought and if this was useful. So please do let me know if you have any questions, and I appreciate your time.